In a vibrant African town called Amigu, life is a blend of wealth and hardship. The streets of Amigu are alive with bustling markets, where traders sell colourful fabrics, fresh produce, and handmade crafts. Expensive mansions with grand gates stand side by side with humble mud brick houses, symbolising the sharp divide between the wealthy and the struggling. It's a place filled with stories of both triumph and suffering. In one corner of this lively town lives a kind and humble young woman named Kama, who endures a life of hardship under the roof of her cruel stepmother, Adaku, and spoiled stepsister, Kamsiochukwu, often called Kamsi. Adaku is a proud and greedy woman, obsessed with wealth and social status. She treats Kama like a servant, making her wake up before dawn to cook, clean, and tend to every household task. Without money or power, you are nothing. Adaku often sneers at Kama, making sure she never forgets her lowly position. Kamsi, on the other hand, lives a life of luxury and entitlement. Adorned in fine clothes and glittering jewelry, she is the center of attention at social gatherings. She enjoys mocking Kama, seeing herself as superior simply because of her privileged lifestyle. The people of Amigu respect Adaku and Kamsi for their outward display of wealth, unaware of the cruelty they inflict on Kama behind closed doors. What neither Adaku nor Kamsi knows, however, is that Kama is far more than just a poor, ordinary girl. She is the daughter of Chief Ebuba, a nobleman who once commanded great power and respect in the community. Many years ago, Chief Ebuba vanished under mysterious circumstances after surviving an attempt on his life. Adaku, seizing the opportunity, squandered his fortune while keeping Kama in the shadows. Despite the constant mistreatment, Kama remains strong and hopeful. She dreams of a better life and finds solace in the simple joys of nature and small acts of kindness. Unbeknownst to her, fate is already setting things in motion. The truth about her noble lineage and her father's survival is waiting to be revealed, a revelation that will change her life and the entire town of Amigu forever. Kama's life in the town of Amigu is filled with hardship and endless work. Every day, she wakes up before sunrise to clean the house, fetch water from the nearby stream, cook meals, and tend to the garden. From morning until night, her hands never rest. Despite her hard work, Kama is never appreciated. Her stepmother, Adaku, treats her like a servant, while her stepsister, Kamsi, enjoys a life of luxury without lifting a finger. Adaku spends her days attending social gatherings and flaunting her wealth around town. She constantly reminds Kama that without money and power, she is nothing. "Who will respect a girl like you?" Adaku often says with a sneer. "You'll always be worthless." These hurtful words cut deep, but Kama remains silent, hiding the pain in her heart. Kamsi, spoiled and arrogant, lives a carefree life. She wears the finest clothes and boasts about her privileged status to anyone who will listen. While Kama scrubs floors and prepares meals, Kamsi lounges on silk cushions, planning her next party or shopping trip. She treats Kama with disdain, seeing herself as superior simply because of her mother's wealth and influence. Despite this cruel treatment, Kama endures everything with quiet strength. She finds comfort in simple things, watching the birds sing outside the window, feeling the cool breeze after a long day's work, and dreaming of a future where she can live freely without Adaku's harsh control. Though her life is difficult, Kama holds on to hope, not knowing that change is just around the corner. Kama's life is filled with mystery, even though she doesn't know it yet. Years ago, her father, Chief Ebuba, was a powerful and respected leader in the town of Amigu. He was a wealthy businessman known for his honesty and generosity. People admired him, but not everyone wished him well. Jealous rivals in his business plotted against him. One night, after a failed attempt on his life, Chief Ebub vanished without a trace. Many believed he had died, but no one knew the truth. After his disappearance, everything changed for Kama. Her mother, heartbroken by the loss, soon fell ill and passed away, leaving Kama at the mercy of her stepmother, Adaku. Adaku wasted no time in seizing control of Chief Ebub's wealth. She remarried a man of questionable character and began living a life of extravagance. Parties, shopping trips, and expensive luxuries became her new priorities. Over time, Adaku's greed got the better of her. She made foolish investments and squandered most of Chief Ebub's fortune. However, She managed to maintain a false image of wealth and influence in the community. To hide her mistakes, she kept Karma hidden in the background, treating her poorly and ensuring she never spoke about her past. Karma knew little about her father's greatness. She had faint memories of his warm smile and strong presence, but Adaku never spoke kindly of him. "Your father was a fool," Adaku would say whenever Karma dared to ask about him. Yet deep down, Karma felt a connection to the father she barely remembered, a connection that would soon lead her to discover the truth hidden for many years. One quiet afternoon, Adaku and Kamsi were out attending a fancy party in town, leaving Karma alone to finish endless chores. As usual, Adaku had barked orders before leaving. "Clean the storage room today. It's filled with dust and junk," she snapped. Karma sighed but obeyed, grabbing a broom and cloth as she made her way to the dark, cluttered room at the back of the house. The room smelled of old wood and forgotten memories. Dust floated in the air as Karma swept the floor and moved heavy boxes filled with broken items and faded papers. She wiped sweat from her forehead, determined to finish the task quickly. While moving an old wooden trunk, her hand brushed against something stuck beneath it. Curious, she tugged at it and pulled out a small, yellowed envelope sealed with wax. Karma's heart raced as she stared at the envelope. Her name was written on it, in neat handwriting she vaguely recognized, but couldn't quite place. With trembling fingers, she opened the letter and began reading. Her eyes widened with shock. The letter revealed a truth she never imagined. Her father, Chief Aboob, was alive. The letter explained that he had survived the attempt on his life, but had been forced to go into hiding to protect himself from powerful enemies. He had been living in exile ever since, waiting for the right time to return. Tears welled up in Karma's eyes as she read the words over and over. Her father was alive. For years she had believed he was gone forever, just as Adaku wanted her to think. But now, hope blossomed in her heart like never before. She clutched the letter tightly, unsure of what to do next. Should she try to find him? Could she leave behind the life of hardship she had always known? One thing was clear. Her life was about to change in ways she had never imagined. That night, Karma couldn't sleep. She lay on her small, worn-out bed, staring at the ceiling as thoughts raced through her mind. Her heart was heavy with confusion and fear. The letter she had found earlier that day was hidden under her pillow, but its words echoed in her mind. Her father was alive. Chief Aboob had not died, as everyone believed. He was living in exile, waiting for a chance to return. A part of her was filled with hope and excitement. What if she could find him? What if he could rescue her from Adaku's cruelty and give her a better life? The thought warmed her heart. She imagined being free from endless chores and harsh insults, standing proudly by her father's side as the daughter of a nobleman. But then, fear crept in. What if the letter was a trap or mistake? What if searching for her father brought even more danger? Adaku had always made it clear that Karma was nothing without their so-called family. Would anyone even believe her story? And what would happen if Adaku found out about the letter? The punishment would be unbearable. Karma's heart ached with doubt. Should she leave behind the only life she had known to chase a dream that might not even be real? Or should she stay and continue enduring Adaku's mistreatment, as she always had? Her head told her to be cautious, to stay quiet and safe. But deep down, her heart whispered something different. It urged her to be brave, to seek the truth and reclaim the life that was stolen from her. As dawn broke and the first light filled the room, Karma knew she had to make a decision soon. Her future was calling, but fear still lingered in her heart. Yet one thing was certain. Her life could never be the same again. Excitement filled the house as Kamsi announced her engagement to a wealthy businessman named Emeka. He was tall, confident, and dressed in expensive suits, always flashing a proud smile wherever he went. People in the town of Amigu admired his riches and influence, though many whispered behind his back that he was rude and arrogant. Emeka himself never missed a chance to show his disdain for those he thought were beneath him, and for Emeka, Karma was the lowest of all. Whenever he visited the house, he barely acknowledged Karma's presence. If she served food or offered refreshments, he would wave her off rudely or make snide comments. "Why is this girl always hanging around?" he once said to Adaku, loud enough for Karma to hear. "She doesn't belong here." Kamsi, spoiled and full of pride, laughed and agreed, often mocking Karma in front of Emeka to win his favor. Despite their dwindling finances, Adaku was determined to make Kamsi's wedding the grandest event Amigu had ever seen. "This will be the talk of the town," she boasted, her eyes gleaming with ambition. She hired expensive event planners, ordered luxury fabrics for outfits, and planned lavish meals for hundreds of guests. Adaku didn't care that her investments had failed and that their bank account was nearly empty. All she wanted was to show off her daughter's engagement to a wealthy man and cement their family's reputation. Karma watched silently from the sidelines as preparations for the engagement party began. She was given even more chores, cleaning, cooking, and running endless errands to help prepare for the extravagant celebration. Though tired and hurt by the insults thrown her way, Karma remained patient and strong, hiding the letter from her father close to her heart. While Adaku and Kamsi celebrated their supposed good fortune, Karma knew that their world of lies and arrogance could not last forever. Deep down, she felt that change was coming, one that neither Adaku nor Kamsi could stop. The day of Kamsi's grand engagement party finally arrived. The house was decorated with bright flowers, colourful fabrics, and glittering lights. Guests in elegant clothes filled the compound, laughing and chatting as music played loudly in the background. Adaku walked proudly among them, wearing a gold wrapper and head tie, greeting everyone like the queen of the day. Kamsi, dressed in a dazzling outfit, stood next to her fiancé Emeka, soaking up the attention and praise. Karma, as always, was in the background, serving drinks and clearing plates. Her simple dress was a sharp contrast to the glamorous outfits of the guests. Some ignored her completely, while others looked at her with pity. Still, she moved quietly through the crowd, doing her work without complaint, though her heart ached. Among the important guests at the party was a mysterious man dressed in a fine agbada with a cap tilted elegantly on his head. He carried himself with the quiet confidence of someone powerful and respected. Many guests whispered about him. "Who is that important man?" one woman asked. "He must be very rich," another replied, admiring his dignified presence. What no one knew was that this man was Chief Abub, Karma's long-lost father. Disguised as a wealthy tycoon, he had come secretly to observe his daughter and see how she was being treated. He watched carefully as Kamsi and Adaku flaunted their wealth and status, but his sharp eyes soon found Karma. His heart broke as he saw her humble appearance and the way she was treated like a servant in her own father's house. Chief Ebube clenched his fists but remained calm. He knew this was not the right moment to reveal himself. He needed time to plan how to help his daughter reclaim her rightful place. For now, he would watch and wait, determined to set things right. As the party continued with loud music and dancing, Karma had no idea that the stranger watching her from afar was the father she had dreamed of finding for so long. Late that night, after the noisy engagement party had ended, the house finally grew quiet. The guests had left, and Adaku and Kamsi were fast asleep, exhausted from a day filled with showy celebrations. The only sound left was the soft chirping of crickets. Karma, tired from serving guests and cleaning up, sat quietly on a wooden bench in the backyard, her thoughts heavy. Suddenly, she heard the sound of soft footsteps approaching. Startled, she looked up to see a man stepping out from the shadows. It was the mysterious guest from the party, the one who had silently watched everything. His eyes, warm and familiar, looked straight into hers. For a moment, fear flickered in Karma's heart. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice trembling. The man took a step closer and spoke gently. "Karma, my daughter," he said softly. "I am your father, Chief Abub." Karma's eyes widened in disbelief. "My father?" she whispered, shaking her head. "No, my father is dead." Chief Abub smiled sadly. "That's what they wanted you to believe. But I am alive, my child. I was forced into exile after my enemies tried to kill me. I stayed away to protect you, but I've been watching from afar, waiting for the right time to return." Tears filled Karma's eyes as the truth began to sink in. The man standing before her wasn't just a stranger. He was the father she had longed for all her life. She stood up, her voice breaking. "Why did you leave me with them?" she asked, pain and confusion filling her words. Chief Abub's face grew heavy with sorrow. "I never wanted to leave you, but I had no choice. Adaku betrayed me and took control of everything while I was gone. But now, I have come back. I promise you, Karma, I will help you reclaim your rightful place. You are not a servant. You are my daughter, a woman of noble blood. Together, we will rise." Kama wept openly, relief and joy flooding her heart. For so long, she had felt alone, abandoned, and powerless. Now, standing before her, was the father she had dreamed of finding. His presence gave her hope that her life was finally about to change. As they embraced under the quiet night sky, Chief Aboob whispered, "Be strong, my daughter. This is only the beginning." With her father, Chief Aboob, back in her life, Kama's world began to change. For the first time, she felt hope and strength growing inside her. Her father, wise and experienced, knew that wealth and respect came from hard work and knowledge. He encouraged Kama to think beyond household chores and discover her true potential. One afternoon, as they sat under a large mango tree on the family's old land, Chief Aboob shared his plan. "This land is rich, fertile, and full of possibilities," he said, pointing to the green fields stretching before them. "We can build something great here, something that will benefit not just you but the whole town." Kama, who had always loved working with the soil, listened carefully. "But what can I do, father?" she asked hesitantly. "People only see me as a servant." Chief Aboob smiled confidently. "They will see you as a leader, my daughter. We will start an agricultural business, farming crops, raising animals, and selling fresh produce. The land will provide, and you will prove to everyone that you are capable and strong." With her father's guidance, Kama threw herself into the project. She learned how to manage workers, choose the right crops, and market their products. Early mornings no longer meant scrubbing floors, but walking through fields to inspect crops. She planted vegetables, built animal shelters, and found ways to use modern farming methods to increase their harvest. The business grew faster than anyone expected. Soon, people in Amigu began talking about Kama's success. Her produce became the best in town, fresh, healthy, and affordable. Traders from other towns came to buy from her farm. What amazed everyone even more was that Kama, once treated as a nobody, was now respected as a smart and kind businesswoman. Customers admired her honesty and hard work, and workers appreciated her fairness. Despite her growing wealth, Kama remained humble. She invested part of her earnings back into the community, helping struggling families and teaching others about modern farming techniques. People who had once ignored her began looking up to her as a role model. Standing proudly on her flourishing farm, Kama knew that she had found her true purpose. With her father by her side and the town's admiration earned through hard work, she had risen above the cruelty of the past. She was no longer just a servant girl in Adaku's household. She was a leader, a daughter of nobility, and a beacon of hope for others. While Kama was rising to success, things were falling apart for Adaku and Kamsi. For years, Adaku had lived a life of luxury, showing off her wealth and status to the people of Amigu. But what no one knew was that her greed and foolish decisions had left their finances in serious trouble. She had made bad investments, trusting dishonest businessmen who promised her quick profits. Instead of gaining money, she lost almost everything. To maintain their image, Adaku kept borrowing money to pay for their expensive lifestyle. The extravagant engagement party for Kamsi had only added to their debt. Adaku believed that once Kamsi married Amika, his wealth would solve all their financial problems. "Kamsi will be the wife of a powerful businessman," Adaku told herself proudly. "We will be unstoppable." But Emeka was not a fool. He soon discovered the truth about their financial troubles. When he learned that Adaku was nearly bankrupt, his attitude changed immediately. "I didn't sign up to marry a woman from a poor family," he told Kamsi coldly. "I want a wife who brings honor and riches, not shame." Despite Kamsi's desperate pleas, Emeka broke off the engagement and walked away without looking back. The news spread quickly through the town, and people whispered about how the once proud Adaku had fallen from grace. "What a shame," the market women said. "She used to act like a queen. Now she's lost everything." Kamsi was heartbroken and humiliated. She blamed her mother for their downfall. "You ruined everything," she screamed at Adaku. "You were greedy, and now look at us." Adaku, who had always been confident and proud, was now filled with regret and sorrow. Her bad decisions had not only destroyed their wealth, but also shattered Kamsi's future. Meanwhile, Kama's success only grew brighter. People admired her kindness, strength, and wisdom. Adaku and Kamsi, once at the top of society, were now struggling to survive. Their downfall was a harsh reminder that greed and arrogance could only lead to ruin. It was a bright and busy market day in Amigu, and the town square buzzed with people buying and selling goods. Farmers displayed fresh produce, traders shouted about their best deals, and villagers chatted happily as they moved through the stalls. Among them was Kama, dressed in a simple but elegant gown, her head held high with quiet confidence. News of her growing success had spread throughout the town, but most people still didn't know the full truth about her past. Many only saw her as the humble girl who had once lived like a servant under Adaku's rule. However, today was different. Today, the truth would finally come out. Standing near a gathering of townspeople, Chief Abub, now fully back in his rightful position as a respected leader, cleared his throat and called for attention. His voice was firm yet warm. "Friends and neighbors," he began, "there is something important you all need to know." Curious, the crowd gathered closer, their eyes wide with curiosity. Adaku and Kamsi, who had fallen from their position of pride, stood on the edge of the crowd, watching nervously. They had no idea what was about to happen. Chief Abube placed his hand gently on Kama's shoulder and smiled proudly. "This young woman standing beside me is my daughter, Kama Abube," he announced. Gasps filled the air. People looked at Kama in shock. The girl you once knew as a servant in Adaku's household is the true daughter of Chief Abube, a noble by birth and a woman of great strength and success. The crowd murmured in disbelief. "Kama? Chief Abube's daughter?" Some whispered, but she was treated like a nobody. Kama took a deep breath, stepping forward with grace. "It's true," she said firmly. "For years, I lived under the cruelty of Adaku and Kamsi, doing all the chores and being treated as worthless. But I never forgot who I was. With my father's return and his guidance, I built a successful agricultural business. I am proud to stand here today, not just as his daughter, but as a woman who fought for her dreams." The townspeople were amazed. Many applauded. Others looked at Kama with newfound respect. "She's truly remarkable," one woman said. "To rise from nothing and become so strong. What a story." Adaku and Kamsi stood frozen, their faces pale with shock and embarrassment. They had always treated Kama like dirt, never imagining that she was the true heir of Chief Abube's legacy. Now, the entire town knew the truth, and their arrogance had been shattered. As the crowd cheered, Kama smiled with gratitude. She had finally reclaimed her rightful place, not just as a noble's daughter, but as a woman respected and admired for her strength and determination. The truth had set her free. The news of Kama's true identity and success spread quickly throughout Amigu. People admired her strength, courage, and kindness. Meanwhile, Adaku and Kamsi were living in shame and poverty. Their fall from wealth and status was hard to bear. The woman who had once walked proudly with her head high now avoided the stares and whispers of the townspeople. One afternoon, Kama was walking through her flourishing farm, inspecting the green rows of vegetables and talking with her workers. The land was peaceful, filled with the scent of fresh earth and growing plants. Suddenly, she heard footsteps behind her. Turning around, she was surprised to see Adaku standing there, her face tired and humbled. Adaku's once fine clothes were worn and simple now, and her proud expression was gone. Her eyes were filled with regret. "Kama," she said softly, her voice trembling, "I need to speak with you." Kama stood still, listening quietly. "What do you want, Adaku?" she asked calmly. Tears welled up in Adaku's eyes. "I was wrong," she admitted, her voice breaking. "I treated you terribly, made you suffer, and never valued you. I was blinded by greed and pride. And now I have nothing." She lowered her head in shame. "Please, Kama, forgive me for all the pain I caused you." For a moment, there was silence. The workers nearby paused, watching the scene unfold. Kama's heart was heavy. She remembered the years of insults, the endless chores, and the cold nights when she cried herself to sleep. Adaku's cruelty had left deep scars, but Kama was not a woman filled with hatred. She believed in forgiveness and healing. Taking a deep breath, she spoke gently, but firmly. "I forgive you, Adaku," she said. "Not because you deserve it, but because I choose peace for myself. Holding on to anger will not help me." Adaku looked up, hope flickering in her eyes. "Thank you, Kama. You are kinder than I ever was. But Karma added firmly. Things will never go back to the way they were. I've built a new life, and I have boundaries now. I will not tolerate disrespect or manipulation again. Adaku nodded slowly, understanding the weight of Karma's words. I promise I will never hurt you again, she said quietly. With that, Karma extended a hand, offering a gesture of peace. Adaku took it gratefully, knowing that this forgiveness was a gift she didn't deserve but would cherish forever. As Adaku walked away, humbled but relieved, Karma stood tall, feeling lighter. She had freed herself from the past and set the terms for a brighter future, a future where kindness and strength guided her path. After Adaku's apology, things in the town of Amigu slowly began to change. While Adaku kept a low profile, humbled by her downfall, Kamsi struggled to adjust to their new life. Gone were the days of fancy clothes, luxurious outings, and endless praise. The cancellation of her engagement to Emeka had left Kamsi heartbroken and embarrassed. She had once looked down on others, but now she was the one people pitied. Kamsi spent most of her days at home, doing nothing. For someone who had always been pampered and served, the idea of hard work seemed impossible. But deep inside, Kamsi knew she couldn't continue living this way. Her pride had been shattered, and she realized that she needed to change. One afternoon, Karma visited Kamsi at their modest home. Kamsi was surprised but grateful to see her stepsister, who now carried herself with quiet confidence and grace. Karma, Kamsi said hesitantly, why are you here? Karma smiled gently. I came to talk, she said. I know things have been difficult for you lately, but I believe everyone deserves a second chance. Kamsi's eyes filled with tears. I don't know what to do, Karma, she admitted. I was foolish, proud, and selfish. Now I have nothing. I'm not sure how to start over. Karma nodded thoughtfully. I understand, she said, but life isn't about staying down when you fall. It's about getting up and learning from your mistakes. I want to help you rebuild your life. Kamsi looked confused. How? She asked. I'm offering you a job at my farm, Karma said. It won't be easy. You'll have to learn, work hard, and earn your place. But if you're willing, I'll teach you everything I know. Kamsi hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Yes, I'm willing, she said sincerely. I want to be better. I want to earn respect the right way. True to her word, Kamsi joined the farm. At first it was challenging. She was not used to early mornings, physical labor, or taking instructions from others. But with Karma's patience and guidance, Kamsi gradually adapted. She learned about planting, harvesting, and managing customers. For the first time in her life, Kamsi understood the value of hard work. The workers at the farm, who had once resented her spoiled attitude, began to see a different side of her. Kamsi treated them with respect and kindness. She apologized to those she had wronged and earned their trust through genuine effort. Months passed, and Kamsi transformed into a humble, hard-working young woman. She no longer sought validation through wealth or status, but found pride in honest work. Karma was proud of her stepsister's growth. You've come a long way, Kamsi, she said one afternoon as they inspected the thriving crops. It's because you believed in me, Kamsi said with gratitude. Thank you for giving me a chance. Karma smiled warmly. Everyone deserves a new beginning, she said. You've earned yours. Together, the two sisters stood side by side, ready to face the future. They had risen above the pain and division of the past, proving that forgiveness, humility, and hard work could create a better life. Life in Amigu had changed greatly over time. Karma and her father, Chief Abuba, had built a strong and successful agricultural business that benefited not only their family, but the entire community. Their farm provided fresh food, jobs, and valuable training for young farmers. People in Amigu admired their hard work, kindness, and determination. What had once been a story of struggle and pain had turned into an inspiring tale of hope. Karma, who had endured years of mistreatment under Adaku and Kamsi, was now respected as a leader and role model. Her kindness, humility, and strength made her a beloved figure in the town. Despite her success, she remained humble, always willing to help those in need. Through her work, she supported many struggling families and continued to teach modern farming techniques to others. Chief Abub, once thought to be lost forever, had found peace by his daughter's side. Watching Karma blossom into a wise and successful woman filled him with pride. You've made me the proudest father, he often told her. Your resilience and goodness have changed everything. The community viewed Kama and Chief Abub as symbols of hope and inspiration. People often shared their story saying, "If Kama could rise above her struggles, so can we." Young girls looked up to Kama, learning that strength and determination could overcome any hardship. Even Kamsi, who had once been spoiled and selfish, was now a hard-working and humble woman who contributed to the farm. Adaku, though living a quieter life, often reflected on her mistakes and was grateful for Kama's forgiveness. The lessons she learned about humility and greed had changed her as well. One peaceful afternoon, as Kama and Chief Abub walked through the lush green fields of their farm, they smiled at the sight of workers happily tending the crops. The land, once filled with uncertainty, was now thriving, just like their lives. "We've come a long way, father," Kama said softly, feeling content. "Yes, my daughter," Chief Abub replied with warmth, "and your kindness and courage led us here." Kama knew this was only the beginning. She had found not just success, but also peace and happiness. Her journey had proven that even in the face of hardship, one could rise stronger and better. In Amigu, her name became a beacon of hope, resilience, and kindness, a story that would be remembered for generations to come. Loved Kama's inspiring journey? Don't stop here. Like, share, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit subscribe so you never miss more stories that spark hope and courage.